stop. Just stop before you spend any money on these potential predatory scams that are out there. I'm going to tell you some self-publishing scams that are out there in the world, because while most people in this community are super helpful and welcoming and want to see other people succeed, there are people out there who just want to separate authors and dreamers from their money, and I'm going to try to prevent that from happening to you. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm MK Williams. I'm an author and independent publisher. I love sharing my insights about all things self-publishing with you. Before I get into the details about today's topic, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That way you can be here every week when I release new videos about all things self-publishing and making a career out of being an author. I've lightly touched on this topic before, but I feel very passionately that there are good people in the self-publishing space who want to help each other and lift each other up. We know that a person will read more than one book in their life, and that means we should all help each other, right? I'm not releasing a book all the time. So if somebody liked one of my books and I think they'll like another book by another indie author, I'll say, hey, while you're waiting for my next book, read that one. Lots of good people out there. But there are also some bad actors who look to make money off of your dream. And I can't stand it, and it makes me sick. And whenever I talk to an author who has already come across one of these scams and they've fallen prey to it, my heart goes out to them, because there's nothing worse than feeling like, yay, like somebody's helping me, but really they're not. And so there's a good way to be able to vet these. And I definitely want to give you some tools and some tips and some advice to avoid some of these pitfalls, because it really does break my heart whenever I see somebody just get so disheartened about their dream because they've fallen prey to one of these things. And now some of these things aren't all scams in the traditional sense. Some of them I just think provide such poor value to self-publishing authors that it's not worth their money, and therefore I think it is a bit of a scam. So that is my personal opinion. My opinions are my own. Yeah. Vanity presses in general should just be avoided. If someone is coaching you or managing your book project for a certain timeline, you can pay a fee, but you're still going to own everything for your book. That's a-okay. With vanity presses, you are paying them money and signing over ownership. That's a scenario that only benefits the vanity press. It's not a scam per se, because they have all of this information shared with you up front, but there's a lot of aspiring authors out there that are desperate for the validation of a publishing house, and they sign on with these vanity presses with a lot of money lost for very little results. And it's very sad to see, because the author's still doing a lot of the work. They're signing over their rights, they're giving over their money, and they're not getting anything in return. Like with traditional publishing, they give you money, you sign over the rights. With a project manager or a coach or something like I do, like, yes, you hand over money, but I make sure you retain all your rights. I make sure you're empowered to make these decisions for yourself, for your book. Like, you are still the self-publisher. You are still doing all of that. It's just somebody to help guide you through that process. So vanity presses are in this no man's land of just nobody benefits except for them. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And it's really tricky because they have good marketing. So it's like, oh, this is our press, the publications, publishing, whatever is on there, but they're not telling you how you are going to be benefiting from this financially. They make it very clear how you are going to benefit them financially with all the fees you're going to pay and all those things. But yeah, so that's the first one to watch out for. I know I've talked about that before. That's just the number one thing that I see where it's very easy for them to prey on people's dreams and aspirations. Okay, so the second thing is purchasing ISBNs. If you live in the US or you're registering for United States ISBN, do not purchase it from any agency other than Bowker. If an individual or a vanity press is trying to sell you an ISBN, run. These numbers are non-transferable. So it doesn't matter if someone says they're selling it to you. There's literally no way to transfer the ownership. They still own the ISBN, and that means they still own part of that book. No matter how much money you've paid over, you should be buying your own ISBNs. Only buy them from Bowker. Okay, the next thing is, again, US specific. Sorry to my international audience. I don't know the potential scams where you are, especially with ISBNs. If you live in Canada or the UK and you're paying for ISBNs, you're doing something wrong because you get it for free there, and that's an awesome benefit. So that much I do know. But in the US, when it comes to the Library of Congress, you do not have to pay a dime to get a Library of Congress registration number. That's your Library of Congress control number, LCCN. You do have to pay for copyright registration, but not for a Library of Congress number. So if somebody, again, is trying to sell you a Library of Congress registration number or a Library of Congress control number, run the other way. They are trying to part you from your money. You will not actually be registered with the Library of Congress. Now, the only people who can actually sell you the copyright registration. Now that $65 is a registration fee that you pay after you fill out the entire copyright application process here in the US. So you purchase the ISBNs from Bowker, you go to the copyright registration office and you apply for that. Otherwise, there should be no other fees associated with registering your book. Do not pay for your Library of Congress number. Now, there are a lot of companies that will pop up out there that have very official sounding terms. They'll use US and Congress and copyright and department somewhere in their company title, but they're not actually affiliated with the official US Library of Congress or the Copyright Registration Office. If something seems fishy, ask. So when I first discovered this, not with the federal level, but when I registered for my LLC in Florida. So in Florida, we register through Sunbiz, sunbiz.gov, like super catchy little name. But what I ended up receiving was an email just confirming, hey, this has been processed. And I knew I was going to get a letter in the mail, like a form letter. So in between when I got the email and the form letter, this big manila folder arrived from the Florida Department of Businesses, whatever. So it sounded very official. And it said, oh, well, here's this fee you have to fill out to get a certificate to be able to display your LLC. And it was going to be like $55. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I just paid all this money to register and now I have to display some certificate showing this. So I called Sunbiz and they said, no, that is not us. Anything you receive from us will say Sunbiz on it. Rip that up and throw it away. So they're getting this even on the state level for just registering for an LLC. Anywhere that people think they can prey on people, either their dreams or their fear of getting something wrong with a government agency, they will do it. So if you think something is off or fishy or you're just not sure, ask a question. There are really great Facebook groups out there and forums out there with authors on there where you can ask, hey, this is a site that's asking me to pay for this ISBN. Hey, this is a site that's asking me to pay for my Library of Congress registration. Is this right? Is this correct? And they can answer it. Ask it on this channel. I know right now I've said I'm going to be slower to respond while I'm on maternity leave, but please ask me the question and I will do my best to answer for you as well. I always want to be advocating for authors to spend less money and keep more of their royalties. So I am always going to be there to help you understand if something is legit or not. So be careful. Ask before you swipe your credit card. Okay, so another scam that I've seen that is truly a scam is when you get an email from someone who says they saw your book online and they think it would be great to promote using their service. If I would just send the EPUB file, they'll blast it out to thousands of people for me. So in this email, I can see that I'm on the blind copy line. They don't actually address me by name in the email. So it's trying to make it seem like, oh, hey, I just saw your book online. It looks great. But they don't actually address me by my name. So I'm like, well, if you did, then you would be like, hey, MK. Little things like that. I'm on the BCC line. They have no mention of what my book title is. So I just saw your book online. It looks great. I have 8 books out. What? That's which one? So clearly this was a masked email and it was written to look like very personal, very quick email that was just shot out to somebody as a one-off, but it's not personalized. It is a bulk email. They also offer this service, but they make no mention of what the charge is. They just want me to send back the raw EPUB file of my book that they can blast out to people. That's weird. Do not reply to these emails. I don't know where they get the email address from. I don't know if it comes from Goodreads or from Amazon or where they're getting the information from, but there are definitely things that go around where people will reach out oh, I would love to promote your book on my book tour, or I just want to blast it out to my audience, but they're not giving you all the details. Don't reply to them. Just hit delete. It's definitely a scam. And that's how some people's books actually end up on these pirated websites. be very protective of your book. Yes, it is important to get free copies of your book out to as many people as possible to get positive reviews, but it's about getting it to the right people. And it's about making sure that whoever you're giving that free copy of your book to, that you trust that they are actually going to read it and they are going to review it. There are some very legitimate blog tour services and book promotion services out there, and chances are they're waiting for you to come to them. They know their value. They understand that. They're going to wait for you to come to them and reach out. They're not going to blast you on this weird anonymous email like this. So definitely hit delete on those spammy, fishy ones. Again, if you're in doubt, ask a question, ask somebody, does this seem legit? So this is obviously a much more negative video than I usually like to make, but I did feel that it was important to really call this out. I've met far too many aspiring authors who say that they don't have the money to invest in the book for editing or cover design or marketing or just buying copies for themselves because they lost money on some scam. Or I'm talking to an author and they're so excited about all this work they're doing. And I'm like, oh, so you're self-publishing? I'm like, no, I signed with this press and it's a vanity press and they've already spent thousands of dollars and they're never going to recoup it. And I just don't. At that point, what do I say? I'm just going to crush your dream some more? So I just really want to be there to advocate for you as the author, as the publisher, to make sure that you're doing right by you and by your work that you've spent a lot of time working on. So it makes me so mad that people are out there trying to take advantage of the dreams and aspirations of others. So please stay mindful, friends. When in doubt, please ask. I don't want to see any of you fall prey to this. And this is usually the time in the video where I say, drop comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. So absolutely, please like the video, please subscribe, please drop comments. We can all commiserate together, but keep in mind that if you're going to call out a specific individual or company or organization, I'm probably going to have to remove that comment just because it can be seen as libelous against me and I don't want to get in trouble, but I definitely do want to help you out. If there's ever a concern of, hey, I know this is a bad actor, that's always best for a private message to an individual who is asking about that service, and you can share your experience versus just openly bashing them on the internet. Again, don't want to see anybody get in trouble, but it's up to all of us to help each other, to really protect each other. And that's when we can do that, is having those one-to-one conversations. So hopefully you are not too freaked out. Hopefully you have not fallen prey to any of these and you feel empowered to stick up for yourself as an author and a publisher. And I wish you the best of luck as you get back to writing your book now.